speaking of draft, we're almost done with it. Well done, Kodo. We called it. I don't actually know what we called, but draft is almost done. Everybody, you can see it up here on the screen. That all that means is that everyone is so excited to get into this game that we don't even get to talk about pick order. So that's good news.
Yeah, agreed. And what I see at the top in the bands is basically what I quickly glanced from the op.gg. So obviously these teams have done more research than I have, but a lot of those familiar staples. But we're getting them in the pick order. They probably did a draft tool or something similar like that. That's why we zoomed through this. But looking at just the comps in general, this seems to be a pretty standard comp, right? Bruiser, fighter in the top lane, some AoE engage CC in the jungle. Diana's obviously a little more damage. Amumu's a little tankier. Control mage mid, and then ADC and supports in the bot lane. So I'm excited to see how these play out. We do see, I'd say, a little more brawly in the sense of the picks, especially top lane Set and Jax. I could see 0 kills happening in 10 minutes, but knowing it's BLC, I could also see 10 kills happening in 2 minutes, right? So Diana Jax seems like a very strong top lane duo where I could see. I don't know which team is which, but red team for this stream here, I could see them really prioritizing grubs and topside control with just the power of that duo.
All right. So Filmy is on the red side. I heard that from production. And Kodo, I'm actually a little bit disappointed in the marksman pick there with the misfortune. But the problem with it is there's not a lot of setup for good ultimates. You've got a small stun from Jax with a counter strike. You've got the small stand. There are many, but they're all small. If we look at the side of University of North Florida, if they had the Amumu, if they got the Victor that's up there and that gravity well, what could they accomplish? And so there's a lot more the good ultimates, and that's what I'm looking for on the side of Filmy.
Agreed. I think I'm going to shred through a Jax Tom catch way faster than Misfortune is getting through Set and Mumu. Right? That's
Mm-hmm.
not even a question.
But I think a lot of the power of the misfortune comes through her ability to roam with that strut passive, lots of move speed, lots of getting around, so you can ensure that the Jax is getting the matchups that he wants and the misfortune the matchups that she wants. But also she's a little bit safer in the terms of she's more utility focused, right? You don't necessarily have to be in auto range to put out damage. You could be over a wall, and when you're against an Amumu set way, right? That's if you get too close, you miss position, you're getting locked down in one shot. Where
True.
misfortune, maybe it's not this is the best champion to give the best damage all the time, but if I can at least get an ult as misfortune and get half my damage out, right? That's still better than just me trying to go in as I don't know a Vayne or something and just getting one shot and not doing any damage, right? So
So
I don't know
I
what the decision was there.
I wonder if Ezreal would have fit a little bit better, but that's it's neither here nor there. It's misfortune. I hope it works well for them. On the other
Fine,
side,
welcome back.
I do like the Zeri though, and getting the protection of the crowd control from Amumu, the utility tree from Hui, and having the oh, hold on. You're out.
Doctor.
Oh, not that one. Oh, yeah, that's what you were meaning. I thought you were saying that Nocturne was in this game. No, that was the last one. But Zeri as a champion is just so much more mobile, and like you said, shreds. And so having the composition that they do to peel for and to protect the Zeri, it, in my opinion, feels like it's going to be a little bit stronger. So I think that just looking at the draft, I'm leaning UNF.
I think so. I think the big just like the last game we saw, not to keep pulling back to it, but we saw an early game comp versus a late game comp essentially, right? The tempo, the priority, the demand is on, at least in the bot lane. Jerry here and KFC's super fan, I love that name, to push the tempo, see what they can do to a Zeri Yumi, which is not a strong dueling lane. That is very much a scaling hyper carry duo. See if they can get some early gold advantage and push them out of the game.
So, you mentioned KFC Superfan. All of us here like KFC, but did you know that the KFC Facebook account only has a few friends? You have.
I do. It's.
Yeah, you've heard about this?
Yeah, I have. Go ahead, tell it.
So the band the Spice Girls is one of the friends, and then several men by the name of Herb. And in total, it gives you the 11 herbs and spices of the KFC recipe. And I think that's one of the funniest things on social media, apart from the Wendy's Twitter account.
I think it's fantastic marketing.
Absolutely.
Looks like we're maybe paused here. I do know as well, and maybe this is just a well-known fact, but it's surprising to me that KFC originated in Salt Lake City, Utah. A lot of us are from Utah area. That surprised me, which I guess makes sense, right? If you're in Utah, you're not going to make a company or a restaurant called Utah Fried Chicken, right? That's just fried chicken, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, as we're waiting for the technical difficulties to fix themselves, allow me this extra little bit, because not only is what Kodo Draco said true, it's on 39th South and State Street in Murray. It is the only location with a buffet, and it was originally called Harmon's Cafe, not Kentucky Fried Chicken, which all of that combined makes it just a little bit more believable that that is where it started. And then around the corner off the 215 freeway is a Harmon's Cafe that is a KFC. It is combined with a Taco Bell now because, the times we live in. But if you want some extra KFC history, yes, travel to the Salt Lake area of Utah, go to the original. It's called Harmon's Cafe. It's on 39th South and State Street in Murray. But we're watching League of Legends now that all that's done. Thank you so much for your acquiescence, let's call it.
Let's go. And I didn't even have to admit that I've never been to a KFC before.
Oh my gosh.
Into the top lane. We've got Grasp on Finesse with the Jax here. Classic trade combo from Slingshot, right? Get the punches, get the stun. Level 1 set is one of the hardest things to deal with, even as a Jax with your stacking attack speed. But I think these quick little trades do favor Finesse, right? You get the stun, you get the Grasp proc, the permanent stacking health compared to the Conqueror is really going to help. And a missed stun from Slingshot with the Ignite, not used, but selected from Slingshot. So really trying to play this early game tempo, win this early fight. And so far Finesse is just doing that, finessing this matchup.
First gank is coming in, Slingshot flashes away, only level 2, which means he doesn't have the W, and that's first blood over to the side of Filmy.
And that's exactly what we were talking about in Champ Select, that top lane duo synergy. Both early fighters, Jax and Diana, can put out a lot of damage, decent amount of gap closers and everything there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if that repeats, especially considering the fact that there's no TP on Slingshot, where Cable can clear bot side, maybe get a bot gank out, and then Recon go straight top again if they really wanted to push that lead.
The Jax is playing the long game as a Jax should. He's stacking the Grasp, has the teleport, wants to affect the map, but then when you look at the side of the set, like you were saying, the Ignite and the Conqueror really looking to punish the lane and get some control that way. And I wonder how well that's going to work for him and the side of UNF. There's the level 3 with the Haymaker, and yeah, he is ahead in the farm despite not having teleport to come back. So that probably says something as he gets yet another face breaker and a few extra auto attacks in there. Finesse has got to be careful.
Yeah, Slingshot utilizing Bowson's Law there. if you die, the death retimers, you get the home cards.
He
but
in
Kane coming
trouble.
mid.
Kiba goes in. He's got the buffs. Jumps back in with the Lunar Assault, and the red buff picks up the kill. Oh,
Wow.
no
That was
way.
such a good fear from Key too. I thought they were out, but not quite enough. The burn secures the second kill. Next kill for Filmy here would give the Feat of Warfare. And we're,
Yeah, we got to be careful if you're a UNF fan. Slingshot gonna get hit with the counter strike. He does have the haymaker. He does a bit. He gets the ignite down. Can he get forward? He doesn't have a splash from level 1. Slingshot down, and Feat of Warfare is claimed by Filmy. On the bottom side, KFC Superfan goes in and takes more than half his health, but Junnard is taking a bit of damage as well, and the trade goes back. I think that's all this is going to be, and they'll farm it out.
3-0 Diana, 4 minutes is scary.
Flash forward to Finesse, gets hit with the bandage toss. Finesse is going to land the counter strike, dodge the second bandage toss, and Mike almost picks up the kill on the top side. It was real close.
Yeah, clears out a couple of those waves, a couple of the minions, gets at least something back for his gank, but so far, great plays coming through from the side of Filmy, right? They're pushing a lead with this early game comp like we needed them to, or we asked them to.
They do seem, at least in my opinion, how well do they scale? It is an early game comp, yes, but we know that Jax is one of the strongest scaling champions in the game. Syndra gets her passive stacking up, all of her abilities get extra strong. What do you feel about the later parts of the game?
And as a top laner, this is why I ban Jax. Because it's depending on the matchup. Some matchups you just can't win against Jax early, and late game you just don't win against Jax. And so it's very much, I don't think they need to be super worried about being outscaled, at least on the top side of the map. Syndra, Diana, Jax, all scaled just fine, if not good. But the bot side, that misfortune we've talked about time and time again.
Yeah. Yeah, so they probably do need to worry about that. UNF looking okay. They're only down 1,500 gold. It's just the 3 kills, right? So if you think about the math on that, 3 kills, 300 each, plus a couple assists, yeah, that's all it is. So they're keeping up in farm, they're keeping up in pressure, they haven't lost any map objectives or anything like that. So they just gotta, knuckle down, pun intended, and be ready for the next part. But there we go. Filmy does pick up the first Drake. That is Chemtech. Now that that's off the board, we know that that won't be our soul. I think that's okay. Traded for the Void Grubs up on the top side. Mike gets that one.
Agreed. We're seeing a Cloud Drake next. Saw that sneaky little symbol on the wall there. So we're getting something exciting. Mountain, Ocean, Hextech. I'm blanking on the last one.
Inferno, but Key throws his own Inferno. Kibo underneath the turret flashes in and picks up yet another kill. 4 kills in the game, 4 kills on the Diana. For sure, they're terrifying. KFC Superfan goes in on the Abyssal Voyage. Now the Ignite is down onto Junnard. He gets stunned by the Tongue Lash, has to flash away, uses the barrier, gets the Summoner kill for Amber Dragon, flash forward, and Derry picks up the kill. And that was not how I saw that going. Nice work by Filmy.
Very well done. KFC Superfan going in on the W, and what a good dodge from Junnard with the E to get away from the knockup. And Amber Dragon, I'm not sure quite what or when.
Oh, Amber Dragon might just get he gets the kill on Derry. Oh no, the dive was failed. It's unfortunate. And the cat comes away with the first kill that isn't on the side of Filmy.
Now, I am usually not one for toxicity, but this is a time where you spam your taunt emo and just do the little cat head bobs right there. that is an acceptable time. Yeah, getting the kill back is actually huge. Unfortunate that the gold's on Yuumi, but it gets the reset, no plates, no wave crash, and no getting the next wave for Derry. That's very important. But back to the original fight, we had missed the stun, the tongue lash from KFC Superfan. Nothing, I think, coming out of this.
Nah.
Amber Dragon was standing between them. I was about to compliment it. Standing between the Tahm Kench and the Zerg to stop the Tongue Lash, but then they reattached and the stun
Going
went
in
right
again
through.
with an Abyssal Voyage. Mike is here. He gets the first stun. He is level 6. They might just chase this. KFC Superfan is in some trouble. He's slowed down by the Prowling Projectile. Pops the Grey Health, and there's the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Junnard picks up the kill, and this is what we were talking about. This is the comeback. The crowd control from the Mumu doing a lot of work. Slingshot has to flash away. Not getting stunned by the Counter-Strike. I think we're done.
I think the flash is okay there. Honestly, with the burst, from Stacked Grasp, and it looks like Finesse is using the W to amplify the leap strike damage instead of using it as an auto reset. You're getting a very front-heavy burst from Finesse, where I'd like to see Slingshot just immediately use that W, bounce back the crit that you've stacked up, while the Counter-Strike is charging, because they're both such long durations.
Hold underneath the turret. This might just be it. The Showstopper, flash away from the Haymaker, and Finesse gets the kill, but he's ignited. We get down to 106 HP. Meanwhile, on the bottom, KFC Superfan gets a kill onto Junner Derry, chasing after the cat, and says, "You don't get it again." That's a shield on Amber Dragon. The double up almost hits. It hit the back minion, but it didn't get the kill.
Oh man, and that we saw a direct cause and effect with the top lane fight. Slingshot has to use the flash to get out of it instead of using the W to bounce the damage back and get the shield, and then immediately on the next fight, Finesse is able to flash dodge the W and Slingshot can't follow. Who knows if they would have been able to flash in time and make the outplay, but it gets a kill, right? It would be 1-2 set instead of 0-3 in this top lane. So we'll see if they can recover that now that they're both flashless. The Ignite is the next summoner up in this fight.
Slingshot does get hit with the Counter-Strike. That is a lot of grit on Slingshot. Mike Beestum is here. Gonna get some magic resistance off of him. Stun with the bandage toss, dealing huge amounts of damage. Slingshot will pick up that kill. KFC Superfan in the river. You can't see that Abyssal Voyage coming very easily, but he is dodged out, and this is going to be Void Grubs over to the side of Filmy. That is a split objective now. Key, in some trouble, is going to get the shield from his lights, but on the other side, Unleashed Power comes in, and that was a big kill for not a lot of damage.
I know he doesn't have TP, but I wish Slingshot would just stay and punch that tower. He had a huge wave stacked top. I think it was a double stacked wave after that fight. And yes, crashing it is great, but you see it's actually going to freeze right outside the tower for Finesse here, and you're missing out on some plates. I would like to see a little bit of maybe greedy play coming in from Slingshot to try to get some gold back into this fight. Instead, you're giving up tempo for this dragon as well from that grub fight.
And that will be the feat of monster slaying over to the side of Filmy. That gives them the Blessing of Noxus and upgraded boots already at 12 minutes. Finesse goes in onto Slingshot, will land the Counter-Strike. Slingshot cannot land the Haymaker, but trade after trade up here on the top side. You know, if Slingshot had grabbed Grasp, I think he would have stacked it pretty well. But on the bottom side, Junnard in some trouble. Amber Dragon caught by the MF ultimate. And now Junnard and Mike Beestum want to go in, but I don't think they win this fight. They have one ultimate. Oh, they definitely don't now. Geo has roamed down. That's a knock up on the Mike Beestum. He is going to get the ultimate down to stop KFC Superfan, but he is slowed. He is knocked back. He is killed. Geo picks that one up, and now Junnard is alone with a big wave here. I don't think he survives this. He ults, but it doesn't matter. Double kill over to Geo. On the top side, Slingshot versus Finesse. He leap strikes away from the center of the Haymaker, and I think we're done fighting for now, but only for the moment.
Yeah. I agree with you to your point earlier.
And they go, Finesse underneath the turret. He is ignited. He takes a third turret shot. Haymaker doesn't land, and Finesse showing Finesse with the slimmest of margins on the hitboxes.
Yeah, agreed. I didn't quite catch when the E came through from set to stun, if he used it before or after the Haymaker ult, but I'd like to see maybe an attempt to counter the leap strike. Use it to pull him out of the jump. It's an instant pull if you can just time it as soon as you see the jacks moving, it's a bit of a skill check, but maybe a dive top.
Definitely a dive top. As the camera was stuck, I was watching Kibo and I saw his ultimate go off. Another kill, 5-0 on the Diana. Kibo is running away with this game.
Yeah, we're seeing Kibo and Finesse really finessing on him, right? Kibo's enabling, but also aware that they're a carry jungler. They can take the kills and it's fine. And we're seeing this map control coming through. If you look at the vision, I see 2 wards for UNF. Now, given they're barely coming back onto the map, but they are very defensive wards. One to protect your blue buff and one to protect your Krugs. Right? You are not tracking Kibo with those wards. You don't know where they are, and that means every lane is at threat, and every lane is at risk of getting one shot by this Diana getting ganked.
The amount of vision that they have out themselves, Filmy has decent enough information that they can play this far up. Look at Geo here. He's just ready. He knows he's safe, and good roam timing here from KFC Superfan. Geo, though, is gonna... Oh my gosh, he's eaten by KFC Superfan. The Devour saved Geo's life. He dodges out the extra Q, and he is only alive because of that roam timing. Junnerd in some trouble here. Kibo jumps in, but a good leap over the wall keeps Junnerd alive. Terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, level 12 Diana, not even a squish. You can't even burst her out. She's going for a little more of a sustained damage build with the Leandries. I assume that's a Rift Maker coming in next. Sustained, Omnivamp, health. Who is going to get through this Diana before she bursts you? I don't know, right? She's going to get a lot of damage out. Look at this HP difference in the top lane. I know Slingshot's behind in gold, but just from that stacking grass, we're looking at 500, 600 health difference if I'm looking at those bars right. It's just harder and harder to have any sort of a fight happen, win here.
Well, and especially because we're 16 minutes in, we got to look at item timings, right? You should have a core item. First, I mean, a fast one is like 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes, but traditional is between 10 and 11. Finesse jumps back in with the leaf strike, but meanwhile, mid lane, Derry's in some trouble at the 2v1. Mike Beestum is here. Finesse will walk away, and the engage in the middle goes nowhere.
And I think Krugs are going down, or maybe that's a Herald. Yeah, it's a Herald. Just more tempo generated here. I think what you're talking about with the items is, you look at the top lane CS, maybe a solo kill. I would be surprised if we see a flash Q here to finish it off. I think it's happening.
And there it is.
Alright, yeah, Finesse knows the damage, knows he's got the Trinity Force finished, ready for that burst damage. Nothing Slingshot can really do with all the spells on cooldown. Merc Treads as well, picked out for Slingshot. Understandable with the Diana and the Syndra, but there's nothing to help in this one-on-one matchup. And
the tenacity.
Look at a little bit of tenacity, that's fair. But you look at just the CS numbers and you can tell it has been a bloodbath top lane. Right, mid lane, both about 140 CS. Bot lane sitting, 130, 145. But then top lane, 90 to 100. But looks like just Filmy's taking another stab at this objective stacking, putting themselves on soul point. 17.5 minutes. They're really keeping this tempo up, not giving any sort of...
Mike Beeson goes in, gets the Curse of the Sad Mummy, steals the Drake, stops the stacking himself. KFC Superfan will get the Tongue Lash for the slow. He might be able to use the Devour, but he's slowed. The range on that was gross. Derry picks up the kill, but Mike steals the Drake. That was pivotal.
Absolutely worth giving themselves a breather. Mike V says, they're not giving us a breather, I'll give us one right here. It's absolutely important to get Mountain Soul, give yourself a little bit of tankiness, or Mountain Dragon, a little bit of extra resist there. Dying is completely fine. But yeah, KFC Superfan still exists. Even though you can't swallow minions anymore on Tom Catch, you could still Q ult somebody if they have full stacks to swallow them from far away. So we get that long range swallow, puts it right back into the team, guarantees at least a trade kill for the Drac.
Slingshot is not having a good time up here. Kibo has decided that Finesse is doing well enough that that's where he wants to focus. He's been there quite a lot on the top side. And so Slingshot isn't able to finish his items. He's not able to farm. He's not... And with 5 deaths, that means he spent so much time away from experience and from gold. He's 2 levels behind Finesse. So I think what we need to see from Slingshot is none of this right here as he gets knocked up, ignited. He will ult back and do actually quite a fun little play there. Gets stunned underneath the turret, flashes away, and gets the shutdown on Finesse? Oh, I am wrong.
We need to see more of that.
I was definitely wrong. Wow, what a play. Good job by Slingshot there. Outplaying the KFC Superfan that was running over the map. Might be someone who tries to go in with the bandage toss, but it misses. Doesn't matter because Junnard just laid into Derry. Picks up their kill. 5 now on the board for UNF.
2 minutes ago, it was 2-13, and we were saying this game's done and over. You know, they're FM's about to get their 3rd dragon, right? Gold is nowhere, but I know it's still a long way to go. But 3 kills, get a drag steal in, and man, even just as a player, even if there's still a 9,000 gold gap, you've got to feel a little bit of energy if you're on UNF, right? You got to feel like, hey, we're still in this. We're making plays. Lots of times you hear people talk about desperate hero plays, where it's, you know, you're behind and somebody decides I need to make a solo play to try to make something happen, and it just ends up making things worse. But we're seeing hero play, hero play, hero play, and they're all kind of working. And maybe UNF just needs a few more of those, and they could pull together a scrappy team fight, get some gold caught up, maybe at this next drag spawn. We'll see.
It's scaling like we talked about. Key is in some trouble underneath the turret. KFC Superfan gets flashed on. That's another outplay, and the fully stacked turret hits Geo.
And the shield.
He will get the shield, and he will make it out, and that's another hero play. I saw 18 hit points.
I saw it, dude. No way. And what an awareness from Key as well, that this QE, that's right, I gotta think about what fingers I'm pushing. This fire trail, Rumble from Hui, slows. And so it kept KFC Superfan under tower for another shot, and then you fear him back into it. It ramps up off KFC Superfan, and then one-shots Geo after he dies. Very, very well played from Key to make that happen.
Rift Herald has been summoned up on the... It's on the top side. I think it was just running out, and so it came up. It will do not a lot. I think there's plenty of time to stop that. But what there isn't time to stop is UNF from continuing to scale in this game. The power is coming in. That 10 CS deficit is still there on the top side, but we saw the engage, and Slingshot is able to disengage now. Oh, pulling in underneath the turret, getting the haymaker, and Finesse took quite a lot of damage there.
Ignite was like 3 seconds away. I don't think Ignite kills there, but it would have been very close.
Very close. Superfan is in some trouble. He's gonna Abyssal Voyage away. The turret is saved. Slingshot keeps that one alive with a great offense against Finesse. And then the roam from Junnard and Amber Dragon keeping KFC out means they definitely keep that turret.
Now, there's a 2-level difference between Derry and Junnard in this ADC role, but they're even in CS, and it looks like pretty even in golds, right? They're both on 2 completed items and boots. This is about the point in the game where you start wanting the Zeri instead of the Misfortune, right? It's that 2 to 3 item spikes where Zeri starts putting out consistent DPS. Especially with Wild Arrows, Runans, that could be a lot of burst damage on these not solely tanky members, right? There's no dedicated tank besides support Tom Kench. So you might be able to get some good burst out with Tuner at this point. And pop, you know, a 5-0 Dianic, pick up a 600 gold bounty.
Key is taking a lot of damage this fight. In the jungle will spell his demise, and the ultimate unfortunately land on that tanky Tom Kench, meaning he couldn't get damage onto Kibo, and UNF have got to avoid plays like that where they're getting caught out all alone. Who's going to answer the bottom side as Geo is pushing in uninhibited, really. Flash forward from KFC Superfan to get the consume onto Slingshot. He's in a 1v4. He'll try and do something, but Finesse picks up the kill.
I think right there we got our little bit dose of reality. Although another play coming in bot.
Junnerd trying to go in onto Geo. The slow from Amber Dragon is there as well. Do we see the bandage toss? It hits onto Geo. Junnerd will pick up the kill. But that was 3 members of UNF to go and take that. They lose their mid turret. They're going to lose their top turret because it already got hit by the Rift Herald. And FM are playing really, really well.
Yeah, I think they can defend their inhibitors, which are the most important to hold. But we're getting a little bit of that reality check here, where yes, UNF are making good plays. They are getting themselves back into this game. They have climbed the first few steps out of this pit they found themselves in. But FM looks at it and says, hey, we're still on top. We're still stronger. We catch you out in the jungle. We're going to take your towers. We're going to bleed you out with this gold lead that we have. Sure, you can pick up a couple kills. You can get Geo in the side lane, but you have to commit 3. We're going to take 2 towers for a kill. And UNF stuck between a rock and a hard place with, do you just defend your towers and bleed out a little bit, or do you try to get a kill but give up more and more of your base? And you can only make that trade so many times before you're trading your Nexus away.
Speaking of trades, Finesse and Slingshot go again. Mike Beestum is there, lands the bandage toss and the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Got the slow, got the ultimate, leap strike away, but Mike Beestum does pick up another kill. Amber Dragon is caught by KFC Superfan. Junnerd is here dealing some damage. KFC Superfan is going to get caught with another bandage toss. He doesn't have a way out, and Junnerd gets the kill. And this is their way back in, but it was all interference because Kibo and Derry took the Baron.
Now it's a 3-man Baron, but it's not the 3 people you want it to, except for maybe the split pushing Jax. But 3 carries, all getting extra stats. Yeah, it's one of those traits. Now, giving up Baron, I honestly think it's probably okay for UNF. They can defend against 3 people with Baron. Zeri's got Rune Hands. Wei has a lot of wave clear. And it's not like a permanent debuff against your team like losing a tower is. So I think it's worth it. I think getting those 2 kills for nothing is absolutely worth it. But we'll see how the next 2 minutes play out before we make the official decision there.
I think that you brought up a really good point. The fact that the Baron buff is not permanent makes it a much more flexible trading tool, right? You can't trade Soul. You can't trade Otacon. You can't trade turrets for things like that. You can trade some non-Elder Drakes and not Soul Drakes because while they are a permanent buff, they're lesser, right? But understanding that the Baron is a 3-minute buff and it respawns and it goes away. So if you can take the time to play around it, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, agreed. And one thing we haven't mentioned is how much Kibo's pushed their lead. It's a quick trade. Kibo is not only Flame Horizons. Ooh.
Wow.
We're fine. We're fine. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
We're looking at 100, almost a 200 CS lead, from Kibo here. Level 18 to level 13 on Mike. This is the point where there are
Slingshot's in trouble. Oh, the Unleashed Power. I thought he had it, but the Unleashed Power was timed perfectly to go at the end of the shield. Kibo is taking a turret mid lane. Derry is caught by Amumu. Mike Beeson has to run away. He's slowed down. He is killed. No, not until he goes down to the MF. Junnerd with the ultimate from the Yumi is there. Kibo underneath the turrets. He's going to be shut down. Never mind, he gets Zonya's. He is still alive. Flashes away and is still alive. He doesn't even get hit with the lightning. Junnerd will go down. Finesse picks that one up. And Phil Me have the minions. They have the turrets down. Amber Dragon is killed. And that's going to be our first semifinal. Going to Phil Me.
Junnerd really tried there. That was about as well played as you could get